Right, what is a bobber? Well, a bobber is a bike that has had, or it's been bobbed. It's had a bob job. And what's that exactly? Well, it sort of goes hand in hand with hot rodding, like in the 50s, like after the war, the soldiers came back and started hot rodding their cars. Like taking stuff off them to make them go faster. And the same with the bobber motorcycle. People were taking bits off, they were bobbing them to make them lighter and faster. And that's a bob job. Things like cutting the rear fenders down short or taking them off altogether, getting rid of lights, just getting rid of anything which wasn't really necessary. The only trouble is, it's not very easy to have true bobbers now because of road laws and insurance and all that boring stuff. So, a Triumph bobber motorcycle is more a tribute to bobbers, I'd say, unless it's a custom built proper bobber. But it's also a great bike that you can carry on modifying, you can carry on bobbing, because it's in standard form, it's got lots of stuff on it, it's fairly legal, well it is legal, and it depends how far you want to go with it. Actually riding to work at the moment, it gives me a good opportunity to actually talk and go into what my opinion of what a bobber is. We'll go and get some fuel. Only got a little fuel tank, which doesn't really seem to be a problem. My bobber, I've tried to keep as street legal as I can, which is why I haven't actually bobbed the rear guard so much. You can see it's a bit shorter, but it's not as short as I'd really like it. But it is so much better to get the rear wheel off with it like that. And the front one's been bobbed a little bit as well. That's a little shorty one. But then you always get people who seem to think that a genre, I hate that word, a bike or whatever, has to meet certain criteria. A good one for that is cafe racers. Like, people say, oh, cafe racers have to have like clip-on bars and all this other sort of stuff, when really, you could go into a showroom today and buy a brand new sport bike and it would be a cafe racer. That is, if you went and raced it between cafes. Because cafe racers started in the 60s in London, when people would take their bikes and race between two roundabouts from the Ace Caf, and hence cafe racers. And people used to like do what you do to bobbers, you know, take bits off, make them faster. But even people had new bikes like new Bonnevilles. They were the bike to have at the time, and it was a cafe racer. So in theory, if you buy a bike, whatever it is, and race it between cafes, you've got yourself a cafe racer. It doesn't have to have drop handlebars, it doesn't have to have a brown leather seat, it doesn't have to have bar indicators and all this stuff. The true bobber normally has a hardtail as well. I'm not exactly sure why. This may be because of the technology in them days, there wasn't any sort of rear suspension, or I'm not sure if it's something to do with flat track racing, which is I think where bobbers did actually originate from. It's also a bike you can customise without having the grief of having a custom bike. I was a mechanic for 32 years and I got to a point when the last thing I wanted to do is come home and work on stuff. And having a modern production bike is great because it's reliable and you don't have to do all this horrible work on it. What is a Triumph Bobber? Well, in a nutshell, a Triumph Bobber is a tribute to a true bobber. It's a bike you can customise without having the grief of having a custom bike. I was just about to edit this video and it seemed a little bland, and there was something which bothered me, and that was the whole hardtail business. So what I did is I put a post on Facebook. I put it on the Triumph Bonneville Bobber Owners Club and asked what a bobber was, and I got some really interesting responses. And what really stuck in my mind was that if the frame's been chopped and been made into a hardtail, then it's a chopper. At the end of the day, I don't really give a shit what things are called. They're just words, it's your own opinions, and bikes are very personal. So leave a comment. Let me know what you think a bobber is. Let me know what you think anything is. Just comment. The more you comment, the more my videos get shown. The more my videos get shown, the more subscribers I get. And the more subscribers I get, the more motivated I am to make videos for you. So also feel free to comment and tell me what you'd like to see a video about. Cheers, have a great day or night.